You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
Hello, Harry Cole. Sun's Political Editor here in Washington, D.C., where one of the most remarkable meetings ever, I think, ever broadcast from the Oval Office has just taken place between Volodymyr Zelensky, the hero of Ukraine, and Donald Trump, the incredibly thin-skinned U.S. president. Now, what a difference a day makes. Just 24 hours before President Zelensky arrived at the White House, we had Keir Starmer, Donald Trump in what could only be described as a massive love-in. Their Oval Office session was all thigh slapping and exchanges of letters and gifts and talking about the special relationship. Complete contrast to when Zelensky, a hero who has basically essentially been fighting for 3 years to defend his homeland, was brought into the Oval Office in what they think was a trap. He was savaged by Donald Trump. He was told he wasn't grateful. He was told off for not wearing a suit. He was told that, in fact, he needed to compromise with Putin. He needs to come to the table. If he didn't like that, he can get out. And frankly, that's what happened. The talks collapsed into complete bitter row. Zelensky, who, don't forget, English is not his first language, he didn't use a translator this time. He chose to speak directly to President Trump and to J.D. Vance, the vice president, and they did not get on. It was an astonishing sort of tirade unleashed by the president on his counterpart. Yet, you know, they were meant to be here to sign a deal for continued support in Ukraine, for continued access for America to essentially agree to support the war effort in return for access to critical minerals in Ukraine. That deal was off. The press conference was cancelled. They've gone away. This leaves a massive headache for European leaders who were hoping that President Trump had slightly softened his stance towards Ukraine. He'd been sort of lavishing praise on Putin. He'd called Zelensky a dictator. He'd rode back on that a little bit as France, Germany, the United Kingdom attempted to bring a slightly soft approach from President Trump to Ukraine, who's essentially meant to be our ally, rather than Putin, the aggressor, the attacker. Now, that's all gone out the window now. There's meant to be a summit in London on Sunday afternoon where the European leaders were meant to be taking stock to consider how their sort of engagement with Donald Trump had gone. Well, all of that's out the window. These are now full-on crisis talks. President Trump is very clear. He wants there to be a negotiated peace. It's unclear whether that now would even be able to do that with Zelensky, who is literally kicked out of the White House around the corner.